Imagine a child scratching their head today. Within minutes, someone reaches for shampoo, a fine comb, medicine, hot water, and a washing machine. Now remove all of that. No bathroom, no pharmacy, no school nurse, no plastic comb, no clean towel waiting on a shelf. You are beside a small prehistoric fire, and a child in your family keeps scratching beneath tangled hair in the cold evening air. At first, it looks like nothing, just a tiny itch. But in prehistory, tiny problems could become group problems very quickly. Because if one head has lice, that head is not alone. It sleeps near others, leans against others, and gets comfort from others. Head lice do not need a city. They do not need a dirty house. They only need hair, warmth, blood, and close human contact. That is the strange part. Lice are not a sign that humans failed to be civilized. They are a sign that humans stayed close. A mother bends toward her child by the fire. She sees movement near the scalp, smaller than a seed, almost hidden in shadow. The child does not understand parasites. The mother does not know modern biology, but she understands discomfort, sleeplessness, and spreading trouble. For ancient humans, the body was not private in the modern way. Hair, skin, smell, wounds, and itching were visible to the group. So the question is not just, did ancient humans have lice? The deeper question is, what did they do when the itch arrived? They could not pour chemicals on the scalp. They could not wash bedding in hot machines. They could not search online for treatment. They had hands. They had eyes. They had patience. They had firelight. And most importantly, they had each other. That may sound simple until you remember one thing. A louse is tiny, but it can turn sleep, comfort, and closeness into stress. And to understand that stress, we must first destroy one modern myth. Ancient humans were not automatically filthy. They were human. When people imagine prehistoric life, they often picture dirt everywhere. Muddy faces, messy hair, animal skins, smoke, sweat, and endless scratching. But that picture is too easy. Dirt existed, yes. Parasites existed, yes. But ancient people were not careless animals wandering through filth. They watched the world carefully because watching kept them alive. Bad water, rotting meat, insects, wounds, and strange smells all mattered. A group that ignored every sign of sickness or discomfort would not last long. Survival required attention to bodies, not indifference. Head lice are especially revealing because they spread most easily through close contact. Not because someone is morally dirty, but because people touch. Children sleep beside parents. Siblings press together for warmth. Adults lean close to speak quietly near a fire, while darkness surrounds the camp. In a cold night, distance can be dangerous. Warmth comes from bodies, shared skins, shared shelters, and the glowing center of the fire. So the very thing that protected ancient humans, closeness, also gave tiny parasites a bridge from one person to another. A louse cannot fly across the valley. It cannot leap like a grasshopper. It crawls, slowly, from hair to hair when humans come close. That detail changes the story. Lice are not just about hygiene. They are about family, childhood, warmth, and the cost of belonging. Under firelight, a mother searches her child's hair. She parts it with her fingers, checking the scalp one small section at a time. Maybe she finds eggs fixed near the hair. Maybe she finds nothing. Maybe the child scratches because smoke, sweat, or dry skin irritates them. We cannot know every exact prehistoric gesture, but we can make a careful inference. Humans who notice parasites likely tried to remove them. After all, grooming is older than shampoo. Across primates, grooming can clean the body, calm tension, and help hold social relationships together. For ancient humans, grooming may have been both practical and emotional, a way to remove pests, soothe children, and say, "You are not alone." Picture the camp after sunset. Meat has been eaten. Tools are placed near the fire. The youngest children finally begin to slow down. This is when grooming becomes possible. Not during a dangerous hunt, not while crossing a river, but in the protected circle of the group. One person sits behind another. Fingers move through hair. A child complains. An adult whispers, "Wait, stay still. I almost have it." This scene looks small, almost boring. But small, repeated acts are what built trust long before written laws or modern medicine existed. To groom someone, you must be close. To let someone touch your head, you must trust them. That trust is a survival tool. A group of humans is not just several bodies standing together. It is a network of care, memory, obligation, comfort, and quiet repair. When a child scratches all night, everyone hears it. When one person cannot sleep, the group loses rest, patience, and focus. So removing lice or simply searching for them was not vanity. It helped restore calm to the small human world around the fire. Maybe they used fingers. Maybe a sharpened twig. Maybe a rough comb-like tool in some later contexts. The exact tools depend on place and time. But the basic action is easy to imagine. Looking, parting hair, pinching, pulling, crushing, throwing into the fire, then checking again. There is another reason grooming mattered. It gave humans a reason to sit together when the dangerous work of the day was done. Hands moving through hair could become a message without words. "I see your discomfort. I will spend my time helping you." That message is powerful. In prehistory, being ignored by the group could be more frightening than being hungry for one day. If you were sick, injured, too young, or too old, survival depended on whether others cared enough to notice you. And this is the twist. A parasite that caused irritation may also have strengthened the behavior that made humans deeply social. But grooming alone could not solve everything. Ancient humans lived in landscapes filled with insects, smoke, animal skins, dust, sweat, and changing weather. Fire helped create a cleaner-feeling space. It cooked food, gave light, pushed back darkness, and smoke may have discouraged some insects nearby. Yet fire was not magic. It could not remove every parasite from hair, clothing, bedding skins, or the hidden edges of a sleeping place. As humans used more coverings and clothing, another problem may have grown. Parasites that could live not only on hair, but around fabric. Scientists have studied clothing lice because they depend on clothing. Their history may offer a clue about when humans wore clothes regularly. But this must be said carefully. Louse DNA does not show us the first shirt, the first needle, or the first person to wear fur. It gives an indirect signal, a biological shadow, a clue that when humans changed their lives, their parasites changed with them. Imagine a cold camp where people wear hides close to the body. Those hides protect against wind, but they also create warm, hidden spaces. The same thing that keeps a body alive in winter can give tiny creatures a place to cling, feed, and reproduce. So ancient cleanliness was not a simple matter of washing more. Sometimes survival demanded layers, closeness, smoke, shelters, and shared materials. A family might shake out skins, sit near smoke, pick through hair, move camp, or keep sleeping areas away from waste and old food. None of this required germ theory. Humans can learn patterns from pain, smell, itching, sickness, and memory long before they can explain microbes. The mother who checks her child's hair does not need a microscope. She needs attention, patience, and the experience of yesterday's scratching. That is how prehistoric knowledge often worked, not as a textbook, but as repeated observation, passed through hands, gestures, warnings, and habits. And once you see lice this way, they stop being a joke. They become a tiny witness to how intensely human life was shared. Now jump back to the modern world. A child comes home scratching, and suddenly the whole household changes its rhythm. Bed sheets are washed, hair is checked. Parents feel embarrassed. Children feel watched. Everyone becomes aware of contact, closeness, and invisible movement. That reaction is ancient. Not because our ancestors had schools, but because humans have always feared problems that spread through the group. Lice remind us that the body is never only personal. Hair touches pillows, shoulders, siblings, parents, friends, and the shared spaces of life. In prehistory, this was even more obvious. There were fewer walls, fewer private rooms, fewer separate beds, and fewer ways to isolate discomfort. If one child scratched, the fire circle noticed. If one adult slept badly, the next morning's hunt, gathering, or travel could suffer. But the answer was not only fear. The answer was care. Sit down, let me look. Hold still, I am helping you. That sentence may be one of the oldest forms of human medicine. Not medicine in a bottle, but medicine as attention. And perhaps that is why grooming feels strangely intimate even now. Someone fixing your hair is also crossing a boundary of trust. A tiny parasite teaches a large lesson. Human survival was never only about spears, caves, mammoths, or dramatic battles in the snow. It was also about boring, patient acts, checking skin, cleaning wounds, sharing warmth, picking through hair, and caring when someone could not rest. A prehistoric family by the fire did not have shampoo. They did not have a pharmacy. They did not have a warning email from school. But they had eyes trained by survival. They had hands trained by repetition. And they had relationships strong enough to turn discomfort into care. So yes, ancient humans almost certainly faced lice and other parasites. But the real story is not that they were dirty. The real story is that even in the smallest itch, we can see something enormous. Humans survived because they noticed each other.